Okay, so we have a system of questions here displayed, and we start with the concept of demand and supply. Just to remind people of what demand is. What is demand? Let's start from there. What is the demand schedule? Anyone with an idea? We're just reminding each other. What's the demand schedule? Anyone who can remember what is the demand schedule? Okay, so a demand schedule is actually a table, all right? A table that shows the quantities demanded at specific prices, okay? The schedule that shows the quantities demanded at specific prices. For example, you have the price here, you have the quantities. Let's say it's quantities of computers. Let's say when the price is 5 in thousands, then you buy only, let's say, just for the sake of discussion, 10 computers. And when the price is seven, let's say you can buy 15. And when the price is 9, you can buy 17. I think that there is this schedule, right? It shows us the price and the quantities. So the table that shows us how much can be demanded at given prices is what is known as the demand schedule. Is that clear? No one is willing to be answering. Who is going to be answering? Okay, Natasha, will you respond for us today? Hello? Are you going to respond for us?
Sir, sorry, I'm doing two things at once.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Gladys, are you going to do that for us today?
Yes, I can.
Oh, okay. It's well now. So that is what a demand schedule is. Then a demand curve, which is the second question. So a demand curve is actually a graph that depicts the relationship between the price and and the quantity demanded. Is that clear? So it is basically a graph. That's a demand curve, right? It's a graph that depicts. You can find these things in the same notes I sent you or in the previous lectures. The graph that depicts the relationship between what? Between the price and what? And the quantity demanded. Is that clear?
Yes,
Clear?
sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
That's what a demand curve is. So it's a graph. So basically you can see that the demand curve is downwards sloping like this. There's price here, there's quantity like that, you know, those things. And the demand curve comes from the demand schedule. When you graph the demand schedule, the price is on the vertical axis and the quantity on the horizontal axis, you come up with the demand schedule, the demand curve. Okay. Distinguish between change in demand and change in quantity demanded. Support explanation with the use of graphs. Okay, you can just mention it, then I'll help you to show that using graphs. What is the difference between change in demand and change in quantity demanded? Anybody? What did we say?
I tried.
Oh, yes.
Yes, change in demand. This is when the price is kept constant, but it is affected by other factors. That is change in demand. Whilst change in quantity demanded, this is when the demand is affected by the what? By the price, the change of price.
By the price. Okay,
Yes.
thank you very much. Yes, so we start with change in demand. So change in demand, the graphical representation thereof, you keep the price constant, right? Then the demand curve starts what? Moving, okay, starts moving, it shifts either to the right or to the left. At the same time, then the quantity demanded shall do what? Shall increase from Q1 to Q2. So what this means is that we assume that the quantity demanded has changed because of the change in other factors affecting demand, holding price constant. Or in other words, keeping price constant, changing in demand, okay? It is actually, it's the change, it is the change in a quantity demanded caused by what? By change in other factors other than price, ceteris paribus. Is that clear? This triangle means change, right? So it is the change in quantity demanded that is caused by the change in other factors, okay, that affect demand apart from price or holding price constant. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Graphically, you can represent that like this. A shift is represented by a shift in the demand curve from D1 to D2, and the price is held constant. Any question? We are summarizing the unit, so you have to ask your questions. Do I have any question on the change in demand? So you talked about other factors affecting demand, and so you're fine. Then from there, we can talk about change in what? In quantity demanded, right? Change in quantity demanded. So the change in quantity demanded is the change. It is the change in a quantity demanded caused by what? Caused by change in a price, holding other factors or keeping other factors constant. Other factors constant. Ceteris paribus, all right? Got that? Did you get it?
Yes,
this
sir.
delta means change. So it is actually the change in quantity demanded that is caused by the change in price, holding other factors constant, meaning other factors that affect demand are held constant. And the graphical representation thereof is just like this. So the demand curve, you can see it here. Then the price is adjusting from P1 to P2. So at P1, we have Q1. Then at P2, we have Q2. You can see that the quantity has increased, right? You can see that the quantity has increased from Q1 to Q2. Are you able to see that? On the vertical axis, we see price, and on the horizontal axis, we see quantity demanded. So you can see that this is a movement along the demand curve from point A to point B. So it does not involve the shifting of the demand curve. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Does someone have a question? Anyone with a question? Summarizing the unit. Okay. Let's go ahead and talk about the supply schedule. Anyone who wants to try, what is the supply schedule? What is the supply schedule?
So let me just give it a try. It's a
Yeah.
table that shows the supply and the quantity supplied.
Okay. So it is the table, is a table that shows what? That shows the quantity supplied, isn't it? The quantity supplied at the given prices, isn't it? At the given prices, right? And so the illustration is of this. You have the price here, you have the quantity supplied. And so these are the prices. So when the price is 50 quarter, we can supply 100. When the price is 25, we can supply 30. And when the price is 5, we can supply 7. Okay? So you can see that as the price is reducing, even the quantity supplied does what? Reduces. This is because this is due to the obedience to the law of supply. The law of supply has got recommendations that the quantity demanded and the price has to follow at the same time. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Anyone with a question? Exams made easy, right? I'm sure, but I think this unit you have really understood it because I've repeated it several times, right? That's what we'll do also to the other ones. We can talk about the supply curve now, which is what? What is a supply curve? Anyone? What is a supply curve?
I try.
Yes, madam.
Supply curve, it illustrates the movement of the cave. Yes, it illustrates the movement of the cave. That shows the
Okay, thank you. Any other? What is supply?
It's the cave which shows the quality supplied at the given price.
Okay, so it is the what? It is the curve that depicts or that shows the what? The quantity supplied at given prices, or the relationship, if you want, the relationship between what? Between the price and the quantity supplied. Clear? It is just the same thing. So the curve that shows the relationship between price and quantity supplied, or it's a curve that shows the quantity supplied at given prices, it's still the same thing. So if you want, you can say it is the graphical representation. The graphical representation of the relationship between quantity supplied and price. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Anybody with a question? Ndanji, do you have any question?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay. What does the law of supply state? What does the law of supply state?
I try.
Yes.
The law of supply states that there's a direct relationship between the quantity supplied and the price.
There is a direct relationship between what?
The quantity supplied and the price.
The quantity supplied, supplied and what? And the price. Yes. Any other way of putting it? Thank you for that one. Bajobi.
The law of supply states that, are you able to hear me, sir?
Yes, we are able to hear you.
It states that the higher the price, the higher the quantity supplied.
Oh, thank you. I like that one. The higher the price, the higher the quantity supplied. Thank you. Any other way of putting it? The idea is that we should not memorize. We have to understand. We don't want people to memorize. We want people to understand that there are many ways of putting it and just expressing the same thing. You can still say that there is a what? There is a positive what? Relationship between quantity supplied and what? And price. Clear? It's the same thing. Another question? Hello? Do you have any question? And people are quiet. Is there any question? No question?
No,
Assuming
sir.
that the silence means that everything is well, we can go to question number, the next question. And it says, list the variables or factors that will cause a supply curve to shift. In each case, provide a brief explanation of how these may influence such shifts. List the variables or factors that will cause a supply curve to shift. In each of the case, provide a brief explanation of how these may influence such prices, such shifts. We're talking about the factors that cause a shift in the supply curve. You can start with them. Number one, anyone, you can mention one. There are many of them that we discussed.
Number one, weather.
Weather, how does the weather affect the supply?
How it does is that, for example, when it is too cold, suppliers will opt to supply more than people.
Okay.
And then, for example, when it is summer, suppliers will opt to supply summer bodies, when cars like my summer bodies, mamuna and my vest. So they follow what's this, my suppliers, they follow the weather, and then it's what will make them to produce such commodities at that particular time.
Okay. Thank you very much for the defense. Any other?
Cost of production.
Cost of production, what about it? You can explain, sir, what do you mean by cost of production? How does it cause a shift?
Cost of production increases.
When it increases, how does the supply curve shift? This is the original supply curve. Where does it shift? To the right or to the left? Demand is constant.
Sir, can I try to come in?
Yes.
Okay, so supply will shift to the left side.
Okay.
So when the cost of supplying is high, suppliers tend not to supply. I said, no. On the downside, that's what I mean when supply, right.
Okay. When the cost of
Let me just say
production
again.
increases.
So when the cost of production increases, suppliers tend not to supply a lot of
So how does
goods.
the supply curve shift?
It will shift to, it will shift downwards.
Like this?
Yes.
Do you mean this? What will happen to the quantity supplied?
Yeah, it means it will increase.
When the cost of production increases, then the quantity supplied increases. Is that true? Logical.
No, the quantity supplied, since suppliers tend not to supply, so it reduces.
So how should the curve be?
On the left side, sir. As in upwards.
Okay. I'm thinking that people are now following, right? So the supply curve, if it reduces supply, it shifts to the left like that, so that the quantity can reduce, right? From Q1 to Q2. Then the price will increase from P1 to P2. You've seen that, right? When the supply reduces, then the quantity supplied does what? Reduces, then the price goes up because the product becomes more scarce, right? The scarcity of the product increases. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Any question? And so the opposite is true. When the cost of production reduces, you find that the supply curve will shift to the what? To the right now. It will shift to the right like this, right? The shifting to the right will cause the quantity supplied to increase to Q2, the one that is in blue. Hoping that people are understanding what I'm trying to say. Does someone have any question? The year to understand and get a distinction in microeconomics is this year. Get a distinction. Get an A+. We are available to train you and help you get one. Okay, any other factor?
Technology.
Technology. How does technology affect?
I'll give an example.
Give us.
For example, in a case whereby in the hello.
We are able to hear you.
Okay, I'll give an example in a case of, for example, in an industry. For example, if they bought more machinery, there will be maximum production. Yes, but now if they do not have machinery, there'll be less production because there'll be producers will be depending on human labor, and of which it will have some effects compared to those that have machinery in their production.
Okay. So now, how does that affect the supply? How does the supply curve shift?
So the supply curve, if there's that improvement of technology, the supply curve will move downwards to right side.
Right.
So meaning that there'll be more supply.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So SC2 like this. So what will happen to the quantity supplied?
There'll be more production to increase.
It will increase, right? What happens to the price?
The price,
price will reduce.
The price will reduce. You can see the graph. You have to be able to read the graphs, your economists. Very important. observe that that will push the price go down. You know that when there is too much supply, the price is usually pushed down, right? Automatic.
Yeah.
And then the quantity supplied does what? Increase. Happy?
Happy.
Don't worry, one day you'll be happy. And so the opposite would mean that the supply curve would shift to the what? To the left. And you know the implication, the quantity would have reduced to that, and the price would have increased to that, right? If there is a decline in terms of technology, there is a decline in technology advancement. Any other factor? I've just talked about 2, 3. Any other?
Yes, sir. Competition.
Competition. How? Okay, let's say number of producers. We can put it like this, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's put it like number of producers. So how does it affect supply?
Let me try, sir. So
Let her finish.
Okay.
It's okay, sir. She can go ahead.
You don't want to finish what you have started, what you meant. Okay. No, madam, you can come in.
Okay, sir. So what happens that if there is a lot of producers in the market, other suppliers will tend to leave the market. Or let's say if there are a lot of producers in the market, there will be a lot of merchandise, or the quantity of the goods will be a lot, hence price will reduce.
Okay, you have commented on the price. So what happens to the quantity supplied?
If we have a lot of, let's say now producers are a lot of producers are producing the same good, the quantity of that good in the market will be a lot.
Okay.
So quantity
how does
will
the supply curve move now? How does it shift? Where is the direction?
So it will shift to the right side.
Okay. So there is an increase, shift to the right, the quantity 1 and the price 1. Then when you shift to the right, the quantity 2 and the price 2. So the price reduces to P2, the quantity increases to Q2 from Q1, and the equilibrium point moves from E1 to E star, right? The equilibrium point moves downwards, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Any question? And the opposite is true. The opposite shall be this one. Then the price will go upward like that. Then the quantity will come down like that. Then the equilibrium quantity will move to E2 like that. Okay? That is the opposite when there is a reduction in number of producers. When there is an increase in the number of producers, it moves to the right, just like that. You know, these semi-to-my graphs are the ones that confuse people. But I'm hoping that this intake I've tried to make things very easy. You should be fine with this. Any question? Hello.
There is no question, so we can proceed.
Okay. Yeah, more factors, you can talk about them. Just understand, is it causing an increase or a decrease, and assess the movement, since you have known how to make assessment. What would cause a movement along the supply curve between 2 points? What did we say? I just said that previously. What causes a movement along the supply curve? What will cause a movement along the supply curve?
Is it not price?
The change in price, isn't it? When
Yes.
price changes from P1, then the quantity supplied will be Q1. When it changes from P to P2, then the quantity supplied will be Q2. You can see that this is basically a movement along the what? It's a movement along the supply curve from A to B. Is that clear? And do people have any questions?
So I have a question. So it's only supply that causes a shift in a supply curve. It's only price rather.
The price does not cause a shift. It causes a movement along the supply curve or the demand. But other factors are the ones that cause a shift, right? You remember what we said in the definition of the difference between change in supply, change in quantity demanded, change in quantity supplied, those things, right? Did you get it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other question?
So just to be clear, so the only thing that causes a shift, not is the wow.
It is other factors. It is
That
other
causes
factors apart from price.
Okay.
When other factors change, holding price constant, you find a shift either in the demand curve or supply curve, depending on what you're looking at. But if price changes, it will cause for a movement along the supply or demand curve, depending on what you're looking at as well. Is that clear?
So yes, sir.
All right. Any questions? This question is complex. B1. I think the B1 is not a nice time to talk about it right now. So I can call for questions.